And here we are in the month of Safe in God's Presence. That was the theme for this month, October. And we talked about omnipotence the first week, the power of God. And then the second week we talked about omniscience, that knowledge, the wisdom that is equally present everywhere. Last week, Peter Boland talked about the names of God. So there was just a lot of God this month. I loved it. Anyway, today's talk, omnipresence. Present everywhere, equally present everywhere. And we say that those are the attributes, yes, of the divine intelligence, right? That it's omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. Those are the attributes that we give to that divine intelligence, that it is, all-powerful, all-knowing, and equally present everywhere. In our philosophy, we refer to that divine intelligence as both immanent and transcendent. It is immanent and transcendent, which means that it exists within all forms everywhere, immanence, and it is transcendent. It stands outside also of space and time and form, so that it's both. And so if it makes sense then, doesn't it, if the divine intelligence is both immanent and transcendent, in form and outside of form and outside of space and time, that it would be present everywhere. It would have to be. That's the logical conclusion to come to. So that as omnipresence, Spirit is present as all creation, outside of all creation, outside of space and time, and within everything. So it inhabits creation, and it also it expands and extends and is equally present outside of all creation. Ernest Holmes said this in 1951. He said, "Today I feel that I merge with the infinite. While there seems to be a beginning and an end to a particular experience, there is neither beginning nor end to myself. My real spirit is omnipresent in God, secure in good, and perfect in divine being." So that omnipotence, that all-powerful, that omniscience, the all-knowing, and the omnipresent, the energy that is present everywhere, is the very nature of our being. It has to be, right? I mean, it has to be. That is where we go with that. That is the nature of our being, because God is, we are. If Spirit made everything out of itself, never being absorbed by its creation, if Spirit made everything out of itself, we are that. We have to be. There was nothing else to make anything out of, right? There's only Spirit. There's only Spirit knowing of itself in form. Spirit could only create of itself. So everything in the manifest universe is made up of the same stuff. And we are that. And when we remember who and what we are, we get to stand in that power, and we get to consciously co-create with Spirit as Spirit. Right? You know those times when you absolutely have prayed, you've done, step 1 and step 2, you're in there, you're going to step 3, the realization step, and you're standing in your power, and you are co-creating, you are speaking your word. And what does the law do? It says yes. It goes to work immediately, rearranging the conditions around you, outpicturing as some sort of change in the conditions. And when we forget that we are made in the image and after the likeness of the Creator, what happens? Right? We have that I'm going it alone thing. We struggle. We're going it alone. We're all alone in the world. We're separate and apart from each other and everything else. And we're really good at it too. I think it might be our culture. It might be the American culture. We gut it out. We're Americans. We put our nose to the grindstone. Damn it. We shoulder to the wheel and other body parts elsewhere. I don't know. But we do things like that. We make things happen, by golly. And we have a tendency to just, oh, no, it's all right. Don't need help. I'll do it by myself. And then we feel like it's us against the universe instead of the universe having our back. When we feel separate and apart from our good, when we feel separate and apart from the universe, when we feel separate and apart from our good, from our God, we're in it alone. We do feel like we're in it alone. That story about the guys driving up and down the aisles outside the mall looking for a spot. God, come on, God, help me with the spot. Help me find a spot up and down the aisles. I know that there's a spot here, and God, come on, make with the spot for me. And all of a sudden, at the top of the aisle, right in front of the store, open doors, somebody pulls out, and he pulls in, and he goes, never mind, I got it. We think we're alone, we think we're alone. And the problem with that is when we think we're alone, when we don't realize we are one with the universe, we have that hole within us, that empty hole within us that we're trying to fill because we don't realize that we're never alone to begin with, and we try to fix it. Then we go around with our lives trying to fix things that are really not broken to begin with, because we can never be outside of spirit. We can never be alone. We can just feel that way. We're always part of this whole life. We're always part of this greater life of God's. And when we feel alone, we feel like there's something missing, there's something lacking, then we approach life from that standpoint, that there's something I have to get. There's something I have to fix. There's something I have to chase. There's something outside of me that I need to drag in so that I'll be okay. And there really isn't, because we're never alone to begin with. We're made of the same stuff as spirit, always have been, always will be. Ernest Holmes said, when we plant a seed in the ground, we don't hold a thought. We loose the seed in the soil. We let it go. We don't concentrate on anything. We plant the seed. We plant the seed. Nature is omnipresent, and you cannot concentrate nature. It's merely something we accept. He goes on to say, you don't will the laws of nature to work. We merely comply with them. We're just aligning with them. He says, now there is such a law involved in spiritual mind treatment, in our form of affirmative prayer. And it is the law of belief based on the theory there is only one mind in the universe. We use it. It is creative. It is where we are, and it is what we are. Our thought is an activity of that mind in us, individualized through us. We do not put the creative power in it. We take it out. We don't put the creative power in it. We take it out. We use it. We align with something that has been there forever, that is universal and that is eternal. And all we do is we align with it and allow it to flow through us. And when we wake up to the truth that we are part of that, of the workings of the universe, that we are in this world but not of it, that we are some part of that whole life of spirits, we begin to take on that role. Right? Do you ever have those moments where, where you just know you're one with everything, one with all life, and we start behaving as that? We come into contact with that idea that I am one with everything, with all life everywhere, and we begin to take on that role. We start living and manifesting and operating in the world as an agent of the divine. Because that's what we are. Ernest Holmes used to use the phrase, God and company. And now you know who the company is, right? That's us. We are the company. And he always used to use that, God and one. That is a majority. We are representatives of the divine life of spirit. There is no separation. We are some part of this divine life that God is expressing. That's omnipresence. Because look at us, we're present everywhere. We are present everywhere. This is the omnipresence of God. There is God, and there is all life everywhere, and that is the omnipresence of God. There is a Bible quote, Psalms 139, that says, "Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. If I take wings in the morning and dwell in the uppermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall find me, and your right hand shall hold me." There's no place we can go to get outside of the presence and the activity of the divine life, of that divine intelligence, of the one life. There's no place we can go. There's nothing we can become. There's nothing we can say or think or do to get outside of that life. That's omnipresence. That's omnipresence. It's all life everywhere. And all the practices that we teach, all of the spiritual tools that we share in this faith philosophy of ours is all about that. It's all about reinforcing the truth of our wholeness and our oneness with all life everywhere, isn't it? We practice things like meditation. Meditation anchors us in the energy, right? It brings our minds back to the awareness of the truth that there is just energy, and that energy flows through all life everywhere. So our very meditation practice just reminds us that there is only one. There's only one. That's what we're tapping into. We practice things like affirmations. Affirmations remind us we are co-creating. We're co-creating with this energy to allow it to flow through us and to improve the conditions around us so that we can live our best life ever, the life Spirit sees for us, right? We practice visioning. It's another spiritual tool we have here. We practice visioning to understand a greater idea of what Spirit has for us when we take our hands off the wheel and let Spirit guide and direct us, right? There is a greater vision. There's a greater vision for us than even we can conceive of. And when we do visioning, we step outside of our own agenda. We step outside of our own, what I think is best for my life is. And we allow Spirit to flow into our minds, into our thoughts, and into a picture greater yet to be that we are. And yet, when we just surrender, when we take our hands off the wheel and stop thinking we know better than God, we allow that vision to come into our conscious minds and to manifest in our conditions. I see those bumper stickers around that says, God is my co-pilot. Honey, if God is your co-pilot, you're in the wrong seat. Switch seats. Jeez, we it's true, right? I mean, we practice prayer. There's an active practice. We practice prayer to stand in our power and direct the law, right? Meditation, we're in that passive place. We're in the receptive place to hear the still small voice of God. When we're in prayer, we're in the active place. We are speaking our word with power, with authority to the law to actively co-create conditions in our lives, to change conditions around us. And that is also a way that we are aligning with this universal intelligence that exists all around us. That is omnipresence. We accept the information from this divine intelligence. We speak our word into this divine intelligence. We take all these different roles on. But there's only this one intelligence, and we are it, and everything is it. We are all individualizations of this one life, which is it. There is a quote by Nisargadatta who said this: "When I look inside, I see that I am nothing." That is wisdom. "And when I look outside, I see that I am everything." That's love. Between these two, my life turns. When we become the observer in our own lives, we understand we are nothing and everything. We are not individuals. We get it that we are not individuals, but that we are individualizations of the one life. We get to bring our ego for the ride, not as a defense against the world, but as a companion for the journey. Right? We're not here to obliterate the ego. I know there's lots of self-help books that'll tell you you are here to obliterate the ego and wipe it out and destroy it. And really, honestly, there are 7.5 billion of us. And God would see fit to individualize itself as you. Why would we want to be getting rid of that individualization? We are here to be unique, individualized expressions. Of course, we don't want to be led by our ego. Of course, we don't want the ego to run the show. This is why the quote says, when we look inside, we see we are nothing. No thing. It is not a denial of the self, it's an acknowledgement that we are one with everything. We are one with everything. As we see ourselves, we see others. And we see spirit alive and well and demonstrating and having its experience as each one of us. How can we stay angry or resentful or judgmental to anyone when we acknowledge there is no other? There is no other. There's simply spirit showing up in all kinds of forms. Right? The skilled behavior, the unskilled behavior, all of this stuff. The people that bump up against you and Reverend Kathy Hearn used to say, rub off our rough edges on each other. We're here to rub off the rough edges on each other. We bump up against each other, all of our skilled and unskilled behavior, but if that happened and you were conscious in that moment that, that too is God. That too is God having an experience as rude. or blissful or pushy or whatever. If we really remember it each and every time, that's God having an experience too. Hey, how you doing, God? I see God behind those eyes. If we remembered all the time, right? How could you stay angry at God? Really? How could you stay angry at God? In class, one of them, I don't remember which one now. But anyway, in class there's a process that we do where we ask the students to think of like 3 people that they really, really, would love to know or they admire or something. 3 people that have characteristics or qualities that you really, really admire. There could be a person from the past, it could be someone in your present, it could be someone fictional that's not even a real person. But to think of 3 people who have qualities you really, really admire. And so we spend some time, and they think of 3 people, and then we tell them, okay, think of the quality. Why you think that person is admirable? What is the quality? What is the thing about that person that you find so admirable? And so people write down qualities like integrity or honesty or courage or humor or whatever. And then they write these qualities on the card. And when you turn the card over, on the back of the card, it says, I have come here to be, and then there's like these blank lines in the world, and you are to take those qualities and put them on the blank lines. And so your card reads, I have come to be joy or creativity or courage in the world. So those qualities that you admire in those other people, they're really actually qualities that you have. And how could it not be so? Right? How could it not be so? Because there's only one life. There's only one energy. God has all of those qualities. They flow through every single life form. So of course, those qualities you admire in others, they are qualities in you. They are qualities that we have. So it's a great exercise, and I remember for the rest of the day, people going around with their little cards. Are you on your card? If someone started to get cranky or irritable about something, really? Have you come to be cranky in the world? No, you've come to be all these wonderful qualities. So be on your card, The interesting part about that is the shadow side is true too. So those things that you really make you miserable about other people, yeah, you got those too. Yeah, it works both ways, but those are not qualities of God. That's the shadow nature. That's a whole nother talk. We'll do that some other time. But when we complete the process and we read the cards, we go, whoa, that is me. That is me. All those things that I love about this person or that person, wow, they are qualities that can flow through me when I remember. When I remember who I am. Of course there are qualities. They have to be our qualities because they're qualities of spirit. And all of those beautiful qualities of spirit flow through everyone. We may not acknowledge it, we may forget who we are, and we may stand outside periodically and point and judge and condemn, get our feelings hurt, get mad at people, stomp off, do what we do. But when we remember, I am that, and I am that, and I am that. And we get to see each other as spirit behind those eyes. We remember there's nothing to be mad at. It's the acknowledgement that spirit is one, and we are some part of that life. And because we embody all of those qualities. St. Teresa of Avila said, Christ has no body but yours. No hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes through which God looks, compassion in the world. Yours are the feet through which God walks to do good. Yours are the hands through which God blesses the world. Yours are the hands, yours are the feet, yours are the eyes, yours is the body. Christ has no body on earth but you. That's omnipresence. That is omnipresence. We are that. We are that. We are the action of God. We are the presence of God. We are the work that God does in the world. That is the omnipresence of spirit in the world. It operates through us. And when we meditate and when we listen for that still small voice of the divine, in the tone and the tenor that we can hear and we can understand, then we can take action in the world. When we vision, when we set our agenda aside and we open ourselves up to receive a greater idea for our lives, then we can take action in the world. When we pray and we speak our word with power and authority into the law, which always goes to work out picturing what we state, then we can do the work in the world. Ernest Holmes said this. He said, since there is but one life present everywhere, I must be in that life, and of it, and it must flow through me. It must be what I am. Therefore, I accept this omnipresence as something real, definite, immediate. At the very center of my being, I realize the divine presence. At the very center of my own consciousness, I recognize the transcendent principle forever renewing my being. A divine presence forever animating, sustaining, vitalizing, co-creating, a divine consciousness forever guiding, forever directing, forever inspiring. There is within me that which knows what to do and compels me to act in accord with its perfect law and order and its complete peace. This I accept, and even as I affirm it, I know that this omnipresence is alive and awake and aware within me. And that's where we are. That's what we are, to remember. It's always true. We can just act like we're separate and apart. Omnipresence is always true. It's a quality of God. It's a quality of us. We are the ones. We are the place where spirit seeks an outlet into the world to change the world and to do what we do. So let's get about doing it.